Good morning, scholars, and welcome to Weekly Morning Meeting. My name is Miss Jimerson, and this is the week of April 19th. Enjoy! Okay, let's get started by doing some deep breathing. Make sure you find yourself a quiet spot. I'll give you just a second to do that. Your next thing to do is put your hands on your shoulders. And we're going to take some deep breaths in and out. Get ready. Very good. Okay, now that we're all calm, let's focus on some tips on focusing. The first tip is that we keep our eyes tracking the speaker. We make sure we're watching who's talking to us. Our next step is making sure that our ears are listening. We're going to try to block out some of the distractions. The next thing is keeping our body what? Still. Correct. Making sure that you're tracking the speaker, you're keeping your body still, and your ears are listening helps you to focus. And also, making sure your voice is quiet so that you can hear the speaker. Okay, so it's thinking question of the week time. Are you ready? So I chose a would you rather question for this week. I really like these and I hope you do too. So this week's question is, would you rather stay home on a snowy day or have an extra day of summer vacation? You can only choose one. Please think or write down why you chose it. Okay, now it's time for sight word practice. Are you ready? So this lesson is almost the same as last week where we played the game almost like Go Fish. When you see the word, you will say it 3 times. Once in your normal voice. Next in a loud voice. Finally in a whisper voice. Then try and use the word in a sentence. Okay, scholars. Are you ready? Ready, set, read. Before. 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 I had gone to the store before lunch. Okay, scholars, now we are ready to jump right into some word work. What you'll notice is a short passage for us to read together. And once we read it together, I will give you an invitation to notice some things about that passage. So, are you ready? All right. Rose has a little dog. The dog jumps in a hole. He cannot get up. Rose has a rope to get the dog. She takes the rope and puts it down in the hole. Soon the dog is with Rose. Don't jump back in that hole, yells Rose. I am so glad you are safe now. If you notice, this is the same passage we looked at last week. What we noticed about that passage was that there were several nouns, and we highlighted all of our nouns in the color blue. We also were able to find verbs in the passage, and we colored all of our verbs purple. We also saw several parentheses, and parentheses tell us that people are talking in the passage, and those are green. We found one compound word, and we colored it pink. This week's invitation to notice focuses on adjectives, pronouns, and adverbs. An adjective describes a noun. What does it do, scholars? Right, describes a noun. For example, the fussy baby cried loudly. How was the baby being described in the sentence? Right, the baby is fussy. A pronoun replaces a noun. For example, she cried loudly. The word she refers to the fussy baby. Adverbs changes the verb, and they often end in ly. For example, the fussy baby cried loudly. On last week, we noticed all the nouns in our paragraphs. We noticed rose, dog, hole, and rope. Now, do we see any adjectives? Is anything in the story being described? Okay, scholars, did you notice some verbs? I did too. I see has, I see jumps, I see takes, puts, and glad. All those words tell me what Rose and the dog are doing in the story. Thumbs up for you. We also noticed parentheses, and we highlighted those in green. We see that Rose yells at the dog. What did she say? Right. Don't jump back in that hole, yells Rose. I am so glad you are safe now. Last week, we also noticed one compound word, cannot. If I separate the word can and not, I can look at them separately or I can look at them together to form the word cannot. This is our last passage to look at. So let's look also to see where we can find adjectives. Do you see any word that describes something? Right, little. Rose has a little dog. What do we know about the dog? We know that he's little. Now, do you see any pronouns? Right. We see the word she. She takes the rope and puts it down in the hole. Who do you think they are referring to? Right, they're referring to Rose. She. Do we see any words that are adverbs? Remember that adverbs usually have ly at the very end. This time we don't see any. Is there a place where you can write or add an adverb? I think so too. If I add loudly to the last sentence, don't jump back in that hole, yells Rose loudly, then we would have an adverb. Good job, scholars. Let's move forward with our problem of the week. Carl has a collection of rocks. He collects 10 more rocks. Now he has 31 rocks. How many rocks did he have in the beginning? Think about how you would solve this problem. Okay, we want to make sure that we are using our RDW strategies where we read, we draw, and we write about our problem. Okay, scholars. So I also did my read, draw, and write. I wrote the person's name, Sheila, at the top. I drew 3 bags with 10 pretzels in each bag. And I also drew the 9 extra pretzels that she had. I went back to reread my problem. And I noticed that Sheila gave away 1 bag. I knew after I counted all the pretzels that she had a total of 39 pretzels. But when she gave away 1 bag, that meant she gave 10 away. How many are left is the question. So, using my RDW strategy, my R, I wrote the word Carl or the name Carl because that's who this problem is about. For D, I wrote the number of rocks that he already has, which was 31. Then it told me that he added 10 more to make the 31, which let me know I need to take away 10. My W, I created 2 place value charts in order to separate my numbers from now and before. I also noticed that 31 is greater than 21. In conclusion, Carl had 21 rocks at the beginning. If we know he collected 10 rocks and now has 31, then we can subtract the total from 10. Good job working, scholars. Good job learning, scholars. I hope you have an amazing day of learning. I also would like for you to come back and study your sight words, of course, to work on your word work and your problem of the week anytime throughout the week and as many times as you like. Keep up the good work, and I'm so proud of you.